What is going on, guys? This is Synergy back at you again with another Tokyo Extreme Racer video. I actually forgot a bit of something in my last video that I actually wanted to explain, and I think it was the controller settings. So I know a lot of people really have different controller settings, whether they play on PS4, Xbox controller, whatever the case is. But I wanted to have you ignore all the settings here and go down to these particular ones like the dead zone and everything. So for new players, they would just keep it at default because obviously like they have a bit of a I guess the controls seem a bit moderate to them and they don't necessarily have a bit of an issue. But what I noticed is that when I work around the settings, I actually have a better time with precision handling and balanceness. So what I did recommend to some people for the dead zone was I recommended 5 for the dead zone, and then the acceleration to be 7, and the brake dead zone to be 3. And then going down here, steering angle correction, as I explained before. I'm not sure if I did that in the past video, but basically the steering angle correction basically limits the according speed around certain, I guess just any corner. Kind of slows down the vehicle to a certain percentage or a certain miles per hour, and turn that off. You have better control that way. So that's just a couple of small things to actually keep in mind. But basically in this video we're actually going to be playing through it, talking a little bit about the future of TXR. So let's get started. So I heard a lot of people really talk about, TXR in a way to where I feel that, they're really excited for the full release of the game, and they really wanted to ensure that, all the past bosses, past team leaders would necessarily be in the game. It's a lot to really cover on that. Again, it's one of those things where it's like it's very uncertain, because we don't really got the news. The only news that we necessarily had was the update when it came down to some improvements, so to speak. But for the most part, I would figure that with the full release of the game that's happening maybe in the next month or a couple of months from now, I feel that it is going to have all of that. Because if you look at the map and you look at some of the some of the original bosses just in different vehicles, and they have some of the original team leaders and stuff. They're just in different vehicles. It's modern, it's modern, it's to be expected. And I feel that when it comes down to it, I highly doubt that it would be anything short than satisfying for a lot of us TXR fans. The only thing I could pretty much say is that I really would believe that they have an idea or a general idea of what to really add into the game. Because let's be honest, I mean, a lot of the times with TXR, there's a lot of, I want to say a lot of bullshit. There's just some bullshit with the bosses. I think that they just really need to not nerf any of the bosses, because that's kind of what makes it challenging. I know this has been discussed before, but I feel that the bosses being at the speed that they are, and how challenging they really are, it makes it more difficult, and gives the person more reasons to want to play. I'm a bit tongue-tied with my words, so I apologize, but I mean to say this because I feel that there's a lot of people that have this impression that the bosses are supposed to be easy. I don't remember them ever being easy at all, at least not in terms of the 13 devils and the 12 angels and even some team leaders. I would assume that they would actually be quick in their own particular way, and I feel that it should stay like that, because it wouldn't really make any sense for them to actually change a bit of the performance for those particular vehicles because they're meant to be like that. If anything, when it comes down to, you know, some of the team leaders, they need to be at that speed. Uh, Now, I think that there are some moderate fixes that need to do with the traffic cars because that taxi traffic car is ridiculous. And the whole staying on top of a vehicle until, you know, you break or whatever the case may be, that one of those glitches, I think that kind of needs to be revolted too. So there's a lot of fixes that need to really occur with TXR before they even decide to release it and so forth. But when it really comes down to it, I feel that, you know, a lot of the cases within this TXR game, they're fixable. It's not like you can't manage it, or at least Genki can't manage it. I'm just really excited that they actually brought out a Tokyo Extreme Racer game for all of us to really play, and it's actually been enjoyable. As I previously explained in the last video, I completed the game 4 times. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It is a bummer that it is single player, at least for now. I would assume that the full game release is actually going to have multiplayer, considering that it would make a lot of sense. I had a general idea of the parking garage being where people would necessarily meet up to race against one another, but you can actually see them on the road, so to speak, and really just to draw caption to the online experience, because, you know, this is a modern TXR game. Keeps an authentic feel, an authentic experience, which is not much to say for a lot of other racing games that are a bit dull, at least. And you know, I have a lot of respect for a lot of racing games, but, you know, I am necessarily a TXR fan, and I think that being a TXR fan and being able to appreciate the graphics, the design for early access game is pretty good. There was a lot of talk about, you know, the vehicles within the game and how it would be able to transfer over, like in terms of the saves, right? So if you complete the game in early access, would it transfer over? I think that that's something that they already described within the description on Steam. I'm not entirely sure if, you know, that they revolt against it, but I'm sure that TXR would actually be able to transfer over to at least the save portion. Another particular topic at hand was talked about with the console releases of it. I think they should push for the console release, simply said, because it would expand the experience. You know, we live in an era to where there should be more crossplay compatibility, for a lot of these modern games, and I think that for a lot of other people who are very limited in terms of not having a PC and not being able to play such a beautiful game such as this, it should be put on console. I'm not entirely sure if it is now, because I haven't really done any research, but from what I gathered, it's basically on Steam. And I feel that, you know, they should really do that. They should really try to push it to being on Steam, so that way, you know, there's likely chances of us being able to play with our friends on, you know, different consoles and so forth. So, you know, that's just one of the things that, you know, I would feel that they would do in the near future. But as opposed to TXR, you know, I feel that the bosses, to get back on that topic, so there's Metallic Angel, which I don't know how to say that correctly. There's a couple of bosses in the game, like, and even team bosses, like Rolling Gal 1, which has ridiculous acceleration and ridiculous top speed. Don't nerf them. You know, don't nerf them. That's what makes the game challenging at the end of the day. I'm so used to games, racing games, being challenging to their own perspective. This goes from arcade to simulation to arcade sim and so forth. I don't think that any of that should really change. If anything, it should stay the same. You know, I get it. I'm not really, this is not anything against casuals or anything like that, but I feel that racing games should be challenging. Some people come from an era to where, in the golden age of gaming, to where, or at least not even the golden age, just in an era to where the racing games were legitimately difficult. you know, in their own particular way. And I feel that by, you know, downsizing the challenge approach for the difficulty approach of it is not really going to make the game fun. Look, I'll give an example. What's the point of complaining about a game that you could use cheat engine for, and you have an easier time being able to have access to some of these particular vehicles at the start? I know that's not necessarily going to help, because you're still going to have a bit of difficulty depending on how you play the game, because not a lot of people are good at racing games, you know. But if you're a TXR fan and you play the TXR games, you'll have patience, you'll have determination, focus on completing those bosses. And again, really, it should be, in all reality, it should be played to a casual approach anyways. But yeah, don't nerf the bosses. It's meaningless. I don't think that this should be nerfing bosses at all. I feel that, you know, you should always be able to find a way to beat them. I found plenty of ways to beat bosses in this game, and I'm sure when the full release happens, people will be able to have newer cars because the selection would be bigger, so to speak. So, you know, I feel that that's should be really said and should really be thought about, you know, to an extent. And as opposed to the car selections in the beginning or throughout the game, I think that that's your own personal choice. I was gonna explain this in the previous video, but the only reason why I chose those things out was for new players, or at least gave my guide on it, is because I feel like there's some people that may not want to use cheat engine and want to do it legitimate, like how I have and how others have, you know. And that's fine, you know. You play the game however you want to. You don't want to purchase this, so you know you are entitled to how you play it. But I'm saying it's all preference, because you're gonna wind up beating the game anyways. It's relatively short. To me, it's only 4 hours long, 4 or 5 hours, depending on how fast you can be able to beat it. That's not an enemy, so great. So yeah, I was supposed to play against that guy, but yeah, so that's just pretty much it. Rather topics to discuss aside from accidentally challenging a NPC vehicle of some sort. But yeah, I hope that you guys actually have been enjoying the game. This is actually a gameplay commentary video to really just discuss and go through some TXR stuff. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you really feel about the game. You know, if it's fun, what do you look forward to in the future? And this is Synergy signing off. Peace out. Before I go, I actually wanted to say thank you guys so much for the support of my past videos, the lossless scaling for the retro games and so forth. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more of that when the time actually comes. I've been really busy, but you guys have been more than patient with me and actually supporting most of my videos and so forth, and I just want to say thank you so much for that. You know, I know that I'm not necessarily a big YouTuber, or not even close to that, but I feel like we're growing a little bit slowly but surely, and I just wanted to take the time at the end of the video to really, you know, say my thanks to you and all, and God bless you guys for, you know, taking the time to view these videos and so forth. I am open to suggestions on, you know, the type of videos, since I'm a retro variety content creator and the majority of my channel is, you know, racing. So I do appreciate you guys for checking me out, tuning in, and, you know, so forth. And, you know, it means a lot to me. I'm a bit tongue-tied again, so I apologize. But yeah, make sure you guys like my other videos. Make sure you guys subscribe. Help us get to 2K. God bless you guys. Thank you. Peace out.